Now I want you to settle in for a long but very thought-provoking story. This is my welcome to San Francisco story, and it is wonderful. Now I'd only been here a little bit. I hadn't really moved around a whole lot, but I was going to church one day on a Sunday, and I get on the bus stop for the 19 bus, which only comes every 20 minutes, and at that time it happened to be late, so I got to stand there for a lot longer, and I got my headphones on, turned all the way up, and I'm listening to my little radio program. Kids today don't know, but there is radio programs still. I listen to weekend programming on NPR, so I'm trying to listen to my show, but I have to listen to this woman yelling at her black boyfriend who happens to be at work for her. Now this fat white woman is one of these so-called woke types. She's offended on behalf of everybody on the planet except for me, because I'm trying to listen to my fucking program and she doesn't give a fuck. Because she is yelling as loud as she possibly can. She's at decibel 10, and this dude who she's breaking up with is speaking at decibel 3. And I remember specifically what stood out that made it impossible not to listen to her is that she said, "I don't joke like that, that ain't funny, I don't get down like that." And she proceeded to go over every fucking joke this dude had ever told in his life. And actually, he was a pretty funny motherfucker. And she had no sense of humor whatsoever. And everybody was learning about this man's wild sense of humor. I take it back, I could hear one thing he was saying. What he was saying was, "Man, quit yelling, man. Quit yelling." As I'm standing there smoking a cigarette, a dude in a dress and a Davy Crockett hat walks up, looking all over the ground for cigarette butts, and the only thing coming out of this dude's mouth is, and I kind of saw him, trying to find a cigarette butt, and I was like, "Hey man, you want a cigarette?" I hand him a cigarette. I got a good old Montego. And he doesn't say thank you. He says, Now I'm his best friend. He leans against the bus pole there and bending the cigarette I just gave him and speaking to me in a dialect of gibberish that I am not familiar with. I take back that he only spoke gibberish if I even said that, but he did say something in the English language. He strung together a sentence, and the sentence that he strung together was, "Black people are psychopaths." And I said, uh-oh. I hope this dude's not getting on the bus with me and this fat white chick. But that's exactly what happened. I'm staring at my phone and I look down at my phone and say, "I'm on the phone," which is not true. But what am I gonna do? Am I gonna pretend that I know what the fuck this dude's saying? Do you think that would be the sensitive thing to do? And lo and behold, here comes the bus, and the bus is pulling up, and she's walking away from him, and she is coming to the bus stop, and all three of us do get on the bus together. Now he's bending this cigarette sitting straight across from me, and she sits down almost next to me, and she smiles, a nice little smile, and I'm like, wow, you got over that emotional roller coaster really quickly. This man is jibber-jabbering at everybody on the bus all at once, and she's looking at him and she's like, "Aw," in her nice little sensitive San Francisco attitude for a 24-year-old who has no fucking idea what it's like to give a fuck about another human being yet, because she's as socially retarded as any other 24-year-old. I ain't trying to offend any of you people. And out of nowhere, this fucking nut job across the way says, "Black people are psychopaths." And he says it really loudly, too. And there's 8 black people on the bus, and none of them give a shit. But this fat white chick gets so fucking pissed off, she stands up, she's trying to get off a moving bus, she's trying to push the doors open, and the bus driver's black. And he says, "Sit down!" And so she's gets a little worried, but she's huffing and puffing, and she sits as far away from me as she can, because when she looked at me to see me also offended, and I was not offended. Nobody was offended except for her. And The man's insane. And so she wanted to sit away from everybody. And she's looking at her phone. She sits down and she's staring at her phone and she's like huffing and she can't pay attention to it. This is the most wonderful thing that I think I could have imagined it actually happened as a result of all of this. About 5-6 minutes goes by. She finally calms the fuck down. Comes and sits quietly back next to me, looks across the fucking bus at the dude, and she says, "I like your dress." Amen too. God bless her for that. Empathy. God bless San Francisco. It's a hell of a town. You should come by sometime. See some crazy shit. It works itself out.